All right. Well, it is 12:15, judging by the time on my TV. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you happen to be at this time. Hope everyone's having a great week so far. My name's Sean Miller, Hipster Viz Ninja, and this is Workout Wednesday live stream, I should say, live stream. So should be a good time. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing. If this is your first time here, I do this every single week where I live stream my build of the Workout Wednesday challenge for the week. So it's a lot of fun, and hopefully you learn a few things. Try to teach you a few tips and tricks along the way. Tell you why Tableau does some of the things it does, and help you grow your skills in Tableau Desktop. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're dealing with today. We'll do this. Get that out of the way here. Okay, so Lorna has got a great challenge where we're going to be dealing all about spatial functions and map layers. So we have a hub and spoke chart. We're looking at airport data, and what we're going to be doing is we got some requirements here, but if we go take a look at this, and we'll do a quick refresh to make sure that it doesn't refresh on us while we're interacting with it. We have a black dot that is our origin airport. We have all of these blue squares around, which are all of the this is all of the destination airports that the origin airport flies out to, and within 1,000 miles, right? So within 1,000 miles, here are the airports that Las Vegas flies to. So really cool stuff. And then we have this ring around here is actually showing us our buffer. That's actually showing you the 1,000-mile buffer around there. And we've got lines that actually connect from the origin point to the destination to kind of visualize the distance for that. So that is what we're going to go ahead and show. So let's go ahead and jump into Tableau here. So we're going to start off with downloading the special file that Lorna provided for us on data.world. I've already done that. So we're going to go ahead, and I've got that file right there. So US flight routes. Bring that in here. Lets us load up. Also, if you are just tuning in, Tableau 2022.1 just came out yesterday, so fresh off the assembly line, the dev line, I should say. Fresh off the dev line is 2020.1. That's what I'm using. Again, the versions for this don't really matter. I think you have to have at least 2020.4, I think, is when map layers were introduced. Spatial files were before then, but I think 2024 is when the map layers were. So if you're above 2020.4, you're good to go with this challenge. This is 2020.2. Lots of really cool stuff. And we'll take a look at one of the really cool features here in just a second. All right. So what we're going to do, we've connected to this. It's just one data set. We don't need to relate anything together. So let's go ahead and jump into sheet 1 here, and let's get to going. Now, there are some interesting fields in here, some that I don't really need. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of buffer, distance, make line, origin point. Let's see, destination airport ID, origin airport ID, distance, number of airlines. Well, no, that might be interesting. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those so we can have everything we need to. longitude and latitude is actually a dimension because you do not want to aggregate those. So I'm going to control or command click on these latitude and longitudes here, and then I'm going to right click and convert these to a dimension. So that the only measure that I have here is number of airlines and then the count of rows here. So here's what we're going to do. What we're going to start off with is we have the destination. Oh, and then destination point. Is that our only point? Yeah, so we're going to remove that as well because it doesn't make sense to what we're doing. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is, if we look at this again, what we need to do is we're going to create these parameters. That's our first thing we do. That's the first thing I do whenever I'm building a workbook and I know that there's going to be parameters. Very first thing is to make your thing as dynamic as possible, so create those parameters. So this is going to be the origin airport. It is a string field, and my current value, my default value that I'm going to build everything off of and test everything off of is going to be based on MCI. Lorna did hers with Las Vegas, since that's where TC is going to be in May, which is good. I'm going to do MCI because that's where I live, Kansas City International Airport. Click OK. Now we need to do our buffer. I'm just going to call this buffer distance. I'm going to change it to an integer. Keep my display format like that, which is good. And then I'm going to default this to 1,000 miles. Okay. Yeah, let's do 500 just for grins. We don't have to do everything the same, right? So 500 miles is our default buffer distance. I'm going to go ahead and show both of these parameters, and then I like to move mine over here. I like to give my canvas as much space to work with as possible, so I like to move my things over here. All right, so we've selected in our parameter MCI, and we've selected our initial starting buffer of 500 miles. I do probably need to edit this so that when we put it on the dashboard, we are saying miles. Okay. All right. So let's start building this. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get our destination airport, or our origin airport, I should say. So the origin airport, I'm going to call this origin. Let's see. I'm going to call this origin point. And I'm going to call this, I'm going to say, so we're going to do a make point spatial function. Give us some space to work. Then what we're going to do is, it's basically going to be if my origin airport, that's going to be, we're going to go ahead and rename this so that we know what we're talking about, because I've got conflicting field names. So I'm going to call it P origin report to know that it's a parameter field rather than this, which is my calculated field. Okay, so I got origin airport. I've got, if my origin airport is equal to my P origin airport, then return the origin latitude. Okay, and then we need to separate that with a comma. And, I don't need that. Let's see. Then we do this, and we're going to change this to origin longitude. All right. So if origin airport equals my parameter or origin airport, then do that. And it's still giving me an error. Why are you giving me an error? A field. Oh, because. Okay. Let's call this starting point. There we go. How about that? You happy? There you go. Tableau is happy with that. Okay. So we got starting point is this. Now, one thing that we have to do before we do this is we have to, right now, if we were to do this, it's only going to return those. It's only going to return the origin, latitude, and longitude. It's only going to return this where in our data set, origin point equals, or my origin airport equals my parameter airport, right? But what I want to do, because what I need for later on is I need to have that point, I need to have that on every single row in my data source. And anytime you're thinking, anytime you hear or you're trying to deal with, I need this on every row, the first thing that should come to mind is a level of detail expression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a min function because all level of detail calculations have to be aggregated. And then I'm just going to wrap that in the curly bracket, which is the brackets for a level of detail expression. I did not write fixed in here, which basically means it's going to put this, it is going to return that to every single row in the data. So I'm going to do that again here. So parameter, so curly bracket, min. There we go. Now, why did I choose min? Because that's what I wanted. I could have done max. I could have done average. I don't think I would have done sum, just because sometimes weird things can happen whenever you deal with those types of things, because you might have weird aggregations happen. So figure out a way, use min, max, average, and that will get you to what you need. If you really wanted to get down to brass tacks about it, min and max are going to be fastest in terms of performance. Then average, min, max, sum are the two that are top three. And then you've got average and count after that, and then count D, distinct count is all the way at the bottom in terms of performance. So it's good to know as well. All right, so we've got starting point here. So now this make point for this is on each and every single row. So now what we can do is we can start building this out. So I'm going to drag my starting point field. It's a measure and it's already a geographic field. So I'm going to drag that onto detail and I should have a map that shows up. Yay, there I am. And there it is. And we know that it is a black dot and we know that it is pretty big. So let's, the reason, so you see how I'm changing the size, but it's not really doing it. That's because my mark type is currently a circle, or is currently a map. I need to change it to a circle. There we go. Now I have the ability to change the size of it. So let's just go ahead and keep it at the default right in the middle there. Okay. And what I'm going to do now, so now I've got that. Let's, again, build this out, right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put that buffer calculation in. So let's do, and we'll call this, I'm going to call this the buffer bubble, just because I like being silly with my calculated field names. This is the buffer bubble, and what it's, Tableau actually has a buffer spatial calculation. And what we need to do is we need a geometry point, so some sort of a point, and that's going to be our starting point. That's what we want to draw the circle around, right? And that's makes sense for that. So what we're going to do is separate that with a comma. What number do we want? Well, we want our buffer distance in miles parameter to go right in there. And then lastly, we need to put a unit of measure, which can be kilometers, feet, miles, whatever you want it to do. So we'll write miles and put it in single quotes. You can see I have a valid field. And now you can see I have a new calculated field and a new spatial field for bubble. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drag it onto the canvas and I'm going to add a marks layer right in there. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. And you can see I've got a map. I've got a bubble with a map on it, which is good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of formatting here. It doesn't really matter if you keep this as a circle or as a map point. Let's go ahead and change it as a circle just to, whoa. Okay, let's not change it as a bubble because, or change it to a circle because that breaks it. That's interesting. I did not know that that was a thing. So your buffer calculations have to be a filled map mark type. I just learned something. That's fun. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to drop the color here. I'm going to do this kind of dark gray first column, last gray color here, but then I'm going to drop the opacity down pretty significantly. 20, I don't like 26. That's a little bit too dark for me. I like 25. There we go. I can definitely tell the difference. Okay. Next thing I want to do, you see how it highlights here? And whenever I hover over it and whenever I click on it, it actually fills in. I don't want that. I just want it to be there for reference. It doesn't really do anything except it provides just a visual boundary for everything. So now with our new map layers in Tableau, you actually have the ability to turn those off. You have the ability to disable the selection of a map layer. And that's what I'm going to do. So I come up here to my buffer bubble mark layer and I click on this little chevron and I just select disable selection. And now you can see I can click anywhere in here. Whoop. I clicked, I did a double click too quickly and it zoomed in, which I can turn off as well. If we go here to map options, turn off all of these. Okay. So you can see that I still have my, I still have this here. And as you can see, I click on it and I don't really get any information. So what I'm going to do is my origin airport, I'm actually going to do right here. I'm actually going to put it on, I'm going to put it on detail here. And now, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Let's see, is it because, let's see, origin airport should be MCI. Oh, I bet you I know. So if we were to hover on this, yep. So interesting. So it's actually keeping all of, it's actually, so you see here, I put origin airport. I thought that it would just do the one, but because it's actually putting every single one on there. So that's why you see on the tooltip ABE, but whenever you lasso it and highlight it, you can actually see that there's actually 403 circles stacked on top of each other. That's not what we want. So let's change that. We'll do, this is starting airport name. And we'll do if origin airport equals P origin airport, then origin airport end. Now let's drag that onto detail. And I still get nothing. Why is that? Why is that? Airport. Let's see. Is this the right field? It may not be the right field. Let's see. Describe. No. That's there. Origin name. Describe. Okay. So let's see. MCI. Let's check to make sure this is right. Yep, MCI. And starting airport name. If origin airport equals origin airport, then return origin airport. Let's see. starting airport name. Okay, well, let's go figure this out. Yeah, and then we'll take this, we'll put it up here. So I'm just trying to figure out why, and then I'll do my starting airport name, and then I'll just do origin airport. Drag that up here. And sort this descending. Yep, there's that. So then my starting airport name should be right there. Okay, interesting. Is it I wonder if it's because, you know, it could be because I don't have it on every single row. So let's try wrapping this. Let's do min. Close that. Now MCI is on every single row. There we go. Okay, so we had to fix that to each row. So that's basically how that works, which is interesting. So, but now we've got that, which is good. We're off to the races now. Now what we need to do, let's do destination airport. And what we need to do for there, what we've got, we need to create a destination point for each latitude and longitude of our destination airports. So let's go do that real quick. Let's do, this is our ending airport point. And this is going to be a make point. And this time we don't need to fix everything. It's just going to be the destination latitude and the destination longitude. All right. So now what we need to do, what we can do is we can drop this on a map layer and I get every single airport. Right? Every single airport. But actually what I need to do is I need to create a calculated field. We're going to call this buffer airports. And for this, we're going to actually calculate the distance using the distance function. So distance, where we're going to start? We're going to start at our starting point. Where are we going to go? Where do we want to measure to? We want to measure to our ending airport point. And what is the unit of measure we want to use? We're going to use miles. All right. So that just calculates the difference. Now what we need to do is we need to create a calculation that will exclude all of the other, all points outside of the buffer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call this buffer filter. And that's going to be hold on. Yep. We'll go back and change the name because I don't like the name of that field. That doesn't make any sense. But what we'll do here is buffer filter. So that's our distance calculation that we just created. And let's just make sure that that's right. I'll click on this. Yep, distance. Okay. And then what we'll say is we only want true or false, less than or equal to our buffer distance in miles. Buffer airport distance. And we don't even need that. We'll just do airport distance. All right, buffer filter. I'm going to go in and drop that on there. I'm going to select, I only want the true because I selected less than or equal to the bat. So I select true. Now hopefully when I click apply, the only dots I'll be left with are the ones inside the circle. Yeah. Hooray. Okay, so that worked, which is great. You can see I still have a bubble here for KCI because it's, so what you can do here is buffer filter and airport distance different from not equal to, not equal to 0. Now when I click apply here, I should see my blue dot on MCI go away and everything else changes. There we go. Good deal. All right, so again, I've only got this. I've got, when I highlight on, if you notice, when I'm highlighting on one, I get every single airport highlighting. That's not what I want. I need to add a dimension onto detail for my ending airport. And that's really easy. I can just do my destination airport name. Just drop that on there. And now you've got that, right? All right. So, and maybe I'll change this from origin airport to origin name. Whoop. There we go. And actually, you know what I might do? I might see we're making it up as we go, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to concatenate the origin name with the origin airport code. So I'm going to do plus. I'm going to open quotes space open paren close quote plus airport origin airport plus open quote close paren close quote. So this is how you concatenate fields in Tableau. If you haven't done it, you can actually concatenate fields just by adding a plus. And then anything that's not a field in your data set, you need to have quotes around, and then plus. So that's why this looks like this. So now, when I click OK, you'll see that it'll say Kansas City International Airport, MCI. So now let's go ahead and do the same thing for our. We'll create a. This is our ending airport name, and that's going to be just our destination name plus open space open paren close plus airport destination airport plus close paren. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop that right on top of there. And now, nope, that was the wrong one. Where did it go? Ending airport. Oh, not equal to. There we go. That was silly. All right. Now when I hover on that, you'll see Epley Airfield, Omaha, Lincoln Airport, Lincoln. So there we go. Right? So now you can kind of see that. All right. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to create the spokes, the distance lines, right? Thankfully, Tableau makes that super easy because we have another calculated field we can use. We have another spatial function we can use. So we'll call this the distance line. And it is simply just a make line function. And it's where do we want to start? We want to start at the origin point. We want to start at the starting point. And we want to go to the ending airport point. Click OK. And lastly, distance line. Drag that as another map layer. And there we have our lines. Now again, you see here, I got another, I highlight one, I get all of them. I don't want that. What are we going to do? We're going to drop our same destination endpoint name onto detail. That will separate out each. And what I could do here is I'll drag my distance to there. And now you can see when you hover on it, it is 700. It is maybe not. There we go. It is 476.9 straight miles as the crow flies, as we say in the GIS world. 476.9 miles from MCI, straight as the crow flies. So this is not street miles. These are just air miles, straight line. Cool? All right. All right. Now we need to just do some formatting here. So the distance line, let's make that we'll make that a gray. We'll make it, yeah. We'll make them thin. Make them thin. How thin do we want to go? Yeah. Thin as can be. Ending airport mark type is going to be a square. And then you can see here that my starting airport is below all of my lines. What we can do is we can take our starting point and let's just drag that all the way up top. Now we have all the lines coming out from the spokes. Well, that's a really cool thing against map layers. Just like all of the other Tableau UI, just click and drag, rearrange things however you want, which is really nice. All right, so now let's go into here and we'll do, I think we'll do distance here. Here's another quick tip for those of you who may be new to Tableau. If you haven't done it already, you can set the default aggregation. So you saw that when I first dragged this field onto the canvas, it automatically did a sum, and then I had to change it to a min. You can set it up so that every time you use this field in a view throughout the workbook, it will be defaulted. So we go to default categories, aggregation, minimum. Now, whenever I drag airport distance out onto the canvas, you can see already by where I'm done, it's already a min, right? So that's fun. All right. And I think another thing, we'll do a default property here. It doesn't really make sense to do half miles or tenth of a mile, or yeah, tenth of a miles. So we'll do number format, and we'll do custom with no decimal points. So we'll just do straight miles. And then we'll go here and we'll edit our tooltip, and we'll say, let's see, I need to add my starting airport name to the tooltip as well, and then I'll say add our starting point is this many miles let's do actually we're going to start with ending name since that's what we are doing. So clicks no, and ending airport name is this many miles away from starting airport name. Change this all to a good dark color. We'll make our dimension names bold so that it sticks out. Get rid of our command buttons and allow by selection. We're not doing any menu actions, so responsive is just fine. And you can see it didn't do it on the lines, but if you click on if you hover on a mark, it will show you that. So if we wanted to go do that again, we could just copy that, go to our distance line, put starting airport name there, copy that, and now you can see each one. All right, so there you have it. We learned a lot. We can get rid of this. Now we just need to create our dashboard, which is a pretty simple dashboard. So I think we'll skip that for the live stream. But this was a really great challenge from Lorna on all of the wonderful map and spatial capabilities within Tableau Desktop. So thank you, Lorna, for that awesome challenge. Hopefully you all had learned something. Hopefully you all enjoyed this challenge, and yeah, I think we'll see you next week. I've already got it up on my YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and click the subscribe and like this video, subscribe to my channel, so you can be notified every time I do these live streams. Follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. I'll be sure to spam you with lots of fun posts about all the cool things I do in Tableau. So with that, thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, and we'll talk to you next week. Go forth and viz.